Josh, do business owners need a minimal viable product, MVP, right? Not MVP as in most valuable player, but minimal viable product. Do business owners need that?
Minimal viable products aren't just necessary. When you start, they're necessary as you work through your business.
So stick on all the way to the end of this video, because in this video, we're going to talk about why an MVP is so important. A minimal viable product is so important to your business. My name is Desmond Soon. I'm also the business manager here at Spurrell Associates in Vancouver. And we have Josh, the founder of Spurrell Associates, who has actually been Canada's top-rated CPA and most sought-after CFO. We've been making this series for business owners like yourself who have been looking to grow your business, but you don't know all the hurdles and all the landmines that you might face. And some of these myths, in fact, you can see me holding here a copy of Josh's manuscript from his book that's coming out, and you can check in the description below for more information on how you can get a copy of his book. But for now, I'm going to quote some things and we're going to ask Josh some questions. So stick on all the way to the end. You will definitely learn something. And I'm going to encourage you to type comments and ask us questions so that we can follow up and give you your answers. So Josh, I want to read out a quote here from the book itself where you quoted Jim Collins, Good to Great, the author. Somehow, over the years, people have gotten the impression that Walmart was just this great idea that turned into an overnight success. But it was an outgrowth of everything we'd been doing since 1945. And like most overnight successes, it was about 20 years in the making. So what I'm understanding from Jim Collins here, people just see the success. They don't see the 20 years of work behind the scenes.
The messy middle. There's the start.
Yes.
There's the success story.
Yes.
The messy middle.
Right.
Nobody sees, nobody talks.
And that's where 96% of business owners fail and disappear.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So then let's talk about how can business owners who are watching this video, circumvent that? How can they overcome that? What are the success principles that they need to do?
Well, that minimal viable product.
Yes.
We know businesses fail because of customers, cash flow, and team.
Right.
Your minimal viable product right at the beginning, you have to launch that because those initial sales are critical. Those are your lifeblood to the business. That's the only cash that's coming in. And so if you're concerned about having a perfect product, you're simply likely to run out of cash before you ever get to that perfect product. Right? You need to get to that minimal viable product that can start generating cash flow. And a lot of these quote unquote pre-revenue companies do before they have revenue, which I call pre-revenue company. I swap out pre-revenue for I have an idea, not a business.
Right.
What they're doing would be accelerated if they simply launched their minimal viable product. We talk about market research. There's no better market research than delivering a paid product or service to an actual paying customer, right? They're going to give you real world feedback. You're going to figure out what all of those pain points are. You can't do that from a brainstorming mission, a brainstorming session sitting around a table. You just can't recreate that.
People want to write these perfect business plans and they think, okay, let me present that to some investors and get some angel investors or venture capitalists to put their money into my business.
All of that, and even if you want to pursue it, go down that route, they'll look at you better even if you have $100,000 a year in sales as opposed to no sales. They don't know if you can sell anything, no matter how much money you have.
We see those in like the Shark Tank or the Dragon's Den and so forth, right? They have an idea, they've got a garage full of, a box game or something that they've developed some good, gizmo or doodad, but they have never ever sold a single product yet.
Yeah, your minimal viable product, you've got to get to launch as soon as possible, right?
Got it.
Customers, cash flow, and team, and even customers. The quicker you get to customers, the quicker they might reorder from you. In some businesses, that might be a month later, it might be a year later, it might be a couple of years later. Right. But until you start, you have no returning business. You're just starting from scratch. That minimal viable product launching as soon as possible, it's critical, right? People are worried about all the wrong things before they do that. They're worried about the logo. They're worried about the corporate structure.
They're worried about the website. By the way, we do have a video on this. Do I need a website? Go watch that video. We actually talk about that, what you should be focusing on first.
Yes. But nothing happens until someone sells something.
True. So Josh, what is an example of a minimal viable product? Let's maybe run through some industries. Just give an example. If I'm getting started as a consultant, for example, I'm doing business consulting. Yes. What's a minimal viable product?
A minimal viable product is maybe as a business consultant, you want to do market research. You want to do some social media. You want to have focus groups. You want to do some HR consulting. You have a whole, suite of services that you desire, but what is the one that first that you can get to market, right?
Right.
Maybe you just left an HR job and you know how to do employee evaluations or an onboarding package.
Right.
Let's sell that.
Just start with that. And maybe some one-on-one consultations to business owners. I want to get the group, but for now, just start with a one-on-one.
That's right. That's right. So
Okay.
we can get that. Whatever is our quickest to revenue product, let's focus on that, right?
Right.
Maybe these are just establishing the relationships to people we might sell more to in the future.
Correct.
It's actually easier to sell a little bit to them and then start selling more to them over time, as opposed to, here's one big $10,000 a month business coaching package or
Right.
business consulting package.
What about if we switch spectrums now? Let's talk about the trades, construction. If I'm a general contractor, I just want to get started. I've been working with someone, I quit that guy. Hey, I can do the same amount of work or better than the guy I worked for, and I can charge more. What would you recommend for a guy just getting started in construction?
So that guy, maybe he's used to doing these, six-figure renovations, a couple $100,000 at a time, right?
Right.
But he has the tools where he can start doing handyman projects tomorrow.
Got it.
He can start generating revenue tomorrow. He can start generating some social proof. He can start generating a network where people might buy bigger renovations in the future. But if they don't start selling today,
Right.
they're never going to get to that, right? In order to cash flow some of these big general contracting projects, guys need a couple $100,000 in their bank accounts. They don't have it.
Right.
They're never going to get there if they look for that first, right? So sometimes they have to scale down the product or service to almost what feels like below of what their capabilities are,
Right.
to what can we get to revenue quickly.
And they're doing that because they need to run through sales cycles, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to get them to oil the machine first, get a few sales through, get some testimonials, get some Google reviews, and then and in the meantime, they're building out their business, right?
Exactly.
Now, that switches the topic then for what if I'm already an established business owner?
Yes.
And do I need, another minimal viable product again?
That's right. Here's where people think you only go through this pain point once, when you go through this pain point continually as you own a business. So what happens with business owners who refuse to launch new products or services, they'll generally hit a ceiling.
Right.
They keep bouncing up along that ceiling because they're only solving one problem for the customer, right?
Right, yes.
How can we solve more problems for that same customer, right? Let's take that, general contractor, right? How can someday he actually get an electrical division that he doesn't have to sub out the electrical work? How can he get an HVAC division where he doesn't have to sub out that electrical work?
Right.
How can he get a factory that he's actually doing some of the manufacturing for the
Of the equipment.
custom cabinetry and so
Right.
forth, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then we can start solving more problems for the same number of clients. Well, guess what? Our revenue goes up, right? We don't have to find new clients, we just solve more problems for them. So we look at what problems, what are the things that they need at the same time as our product or service. That's the lowest hanging fruit. And even what are the things that they tend to buy in the next year, right?
Yeah.
If you're the person who's doing DJing at a wedding,
Right.
well, why can't we also sell them the flowers? Why can't we
Right.
also sell them the photography, right?
Right.
We just start
Now you start
building
expanding
out that product line.
Right.
But you have to have that comfort to launch those minimal viable products. And it's going to be difficult at first, right?
Right.
They won't feel natural,
Right.
We launch these things.
Yes.
Think of that general contractor, and he's been doing general contracting work for years.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, he's doing his first electrical project.
Right.
He's hired an electrician,
Yes.
but he's no longer the genius on the job, right?
Right.
He's hiring someone else who knows something a little bit different, right? It's going to feel a little bit unnatural, right? We have to get over that feeling of it being unnatural because it's a part of doing business. We have to expand our product offerings.
That's a great point, Josh. In fact, in Ryan Moran's book, 12 Months to 1 Million, he talks about that too, right? It's going through those different phases and getting your first product out,
Yes.
and then having a second product. So the second, the third, the fourth, those are the other MVPs for an established business owner. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly right?
Gotcha. So I've got a last question here for you, Josh. How do you deal with MVPs, planning out minimal viable products in your calendar? Because we talked about in the other video that we've done before about having scheduled calendars and regular things that make a business successful.
Yeah. So you got to think about minimal viable products. They're not the thing that we're just up all Saturday night and all Sunday night trying to knock this out in a weekend.
Right.
Delivering your minimal viable product is a consistent thing that you do in your business forever. So you actually have time for, call it research and development. Maybe it's part of your admin block, wherever it is, but you got to think of it, this is the research and development of your small company.
Yes.
And we have to do this forever. For as long as we want our profits to grow, we need time in our calendar to knock this out. So we need entrepreneurs to stop thinking about this as a singular project, right?
Right.
And start thinking about it as a forever task in your business. I always want time to launch new products or services or perfect the existing ones and get them better, as opposed to, I'm just going to do this once and forget about it.
Correct. So in other words, like what we talked about in the other video, which we'll post up here in the I button on top there, is to be able to block out that time, whether you do it once a month, maybe once every other month. It's something that you actually schedule time to do the thinking time, or maybe it's because you're not working 7 days a week, you're just working 6 days, and it's on your 7th day that you actually have time to think about stuff like this. What are you going to launch next? So map it out, and then you don't just drop it on your team and say, oh, we're doing this next, guys, so and then everyone's scrambling around.
Exactly.
Josh, what's some action items that a business owner who's watching this video can take right away? Because you give tips in all these other videos, and for this video in particular, what is something, if I was an established business owner, or maybe I'm just getting started, what is something I can do to get started with my minimal viable product?
Calendar block.
Yep.
So we have a calendar block. I would suggest it needs to be at least 2 hours a week. Something that you can actually develop
2 hours a week
into the development of your business. So these are either perfecting the existing products or services,
right?
Or once you have comfort on those, building out new ones, right? And remember, when we have something, launch it, because it's never going to be perfect until we launch it. Try it, test it, measure it, and refine it.
Have budget for it as well too. And
that's right.
Time budget as well as also money for investing in the research, correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right on. Well, if you enjoyed this video, comment below, let us know, ask more further questions so I can get Josh to do that. By the way, Josh also does put on a business boot camp, and he does it several times in a year where business owners fly in from all over to meet with Josh and other business owners. Many times we fill the room with 50 to 100 people of actual business owners who have actually beat the odds. These are people on their way or they've already done it. If you'd like to be there and you want to find out more information, we'll put it in the description below, or just go visit spurrell.ca. So that's SPURRELL.ca. That's spurrell.ca, and you can find out more information there. If not that, we'll see you in the next video.